So, I know you're interested in skilled trades, right? Yeah, the whole hands-on thing, the job security, who wouldn't be? And well, today we're diving into a career that might just have you grabbing your tool belt. We're talking overhead line workers. Get ready though, because some of this stuff might surprise you.
And we've got some awesome info to dig into.
Oh yeah, like what?
RoleCatcher.com, they're like, a career guide. They've got these excerpts on overhead line workers. It's like having a roadmap for your next job move.
Nice, so no more getting lost on those career websites, huh?
Exactly.
Okay, so from what I've seen, this line of work, no pun intended, comes with some twists and turns. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's back up. What does an overhead line worker do all day? Besides, looking cool up on those poles.
Right. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's more than just about electricity, though that's a huge part of it, obviously. Think of it this way. They're the ones who make sure the lights turn on when you flick that switch.
Keeping the world running.
You got it. Installing, fixing, maintaining all those power lines we see everywhere. So yeah, it's physical, climbing, lifting, using tools, all that good stuff. But, and this is important, it's also super technical. They have to really understand electrical systems, safety protocols, and, get this, customer service.
Wait, customer service? I thought we were talking live wires here.
And that's exactly why staying calm under pressure is like a requirement for this job.
Yeah.
Imagine a storm takes out the power, right? People are freaking out, maybe even scared. It's the line worker's job to calm them down, explain what's going on, and make sure everyone feels safe.
Wow, okay, so there's a whole human element I never even considered.
Absolutely.
And speaking of things I didn't expect, RoleCatcher mentioned some pretty surprising skills, too. I'm seeing a lot about telecommunications and even education and training.
Right. It makes sense when you think about it. Those power lines, they're often carrying more than just electricity. We're talking fiber optic cables, the whole telecommunications grid. So knowing how those systems work together, that's crucial, especially if you want to prevent things from, going dark.
Makes sense. What about the training part?
Well, that's where the passing the torch comes in.
Yeah.
Senior line workers, they're responsible for teaching the ropes to apprentices, making sure that next generation is up to speed and safe.
So it's about climbing those career poles, too, huh? I like it.
Yeah.
And I see RoleCatcher breaks down the typical career path. You start as an apprentice and work your way up to lead line worker.
Yep, more responsibility, and I'd imagine much better views as you go.
I bet. But what I find really interesting is that RoleCatcher goes beyond just like listing job duties,
Yeah.
They give you a feel for what it's really like. They have these example profiles workers describing their day-to-day.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm actually really curious to hear one. What stage are you thinking?
Let's see. How about we go for the senior overhead line worker? They've been at it a while, leading teams, handling those really complex projects.
Oh yeah, the big leagues. Let's hear it.
Okay, so get this. This is a senior line worker talking, straight from RoleCatcher. I've built a reputation for leading and overseeing skilled professionals. My technical expertise helps me guide and support my team, making sure we nail the construction and maintenance of power supply and control cables way up on those overhead lines. I'm known for delivering results, working closely with engineers and project managers to plan and execute those really challenging projects.
Wow, they sound like a total boss. And they definitely know their stuff.
Totally. And did you catch how they highlight both the leadership skills and the technical side? They're not just like giving orders from the ground. They're up there with the team, hands-on, making sure everything's done right. Especially with high voltage lines, precision is key.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's not just about the actual work either. There's the planning, the collaborating, working with engineers, managing projects. That's a whole other skill set.
For sure.
Yeah.
It really shows how the job changes as you move up the ranks. You start with the basics, mastering the hands-on stuff. Then as you gain experience, you take on more responsibility, leading, strategizing, making sure everyone on the crew gets home safe.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. It sounds like there's real potential for growth in this field, which, if I'm remembering right, is something you're looking for in a career. But you got to keep it real. Every job has its pros and cons, right? And RoleCatcher lists a few here. The good stuff, great earning potential, the hands-on work we talked about, and that job security. But on the flip side, it's physically demanding. You're out there in all kinds of weather, and yeah, there's definitely some risk involved.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a trade-off. You're battling the elements, the work's tough, and there are inherent risks, yeah. But honestly, that's often the case with skilled trades that are in high demand and offer that strong job security. Think about it. Good economy, bad economy, people need power, the lights have got to stay on.
So true. Though, speaking of trade-offs, RoleCatcher also mentions long hours, potentially away from home. That work-life balance thing, that's definitely something to think about too.
Oh, for sure. That's huge. This isn't your typical 9 to 5, especially when emergencies pop up. Storm takes out the power. Everyone's got to jump in no matter what time it is.
Yeah.
Flexibility and dedication are super important, and sometimes, yeah, it means being away from family for a bit.
That's a really good point. It's one thing to love your job, but it's got to work with the rest of your life too. So we've covered a lot of ground here. So we've covered a lot, the skills, the challenges, what the lifestyle's like. But what about you? Does this sound like the kind of career you're after?
It's definitely got a lot of what you said you were looking for, right? That job security, the hands-on
Yeah,
aspect.
for sure.
But as we've seen, it's so much more than that. You need strong communication skills, that leadership potential, and you got to be ready for anything.
Yeah, no kidding.
We're talking about thinking on your feet, making decisions under pressure, often with like Mother Nature throwing a wrench in the works.
And speaking of wrenches, what about the safety aspect? Rollcatcher really emphasizes that.
Rightfully so. You're working with high voltage electricity, often way up in the air. There's no room for error. It means following safety protocols religiously, being aware of your surroundings every second, basically making safety a priority for yourself and your team.
It's not just about getting the job done, it's about getting everyone home safe, too.
Exactly. Every single day, you're the one people are counting on to keep the lights on, literally.
Mm.
So I guess the question is,
What's that?
it's one thing to be glad when the lights turn on, right?
Yeah.
But could you be the one up on that pole, braving the elements, making sure the power stays on no matter what? It takes a certain kind of person with a unique set of skills and a whole lot of grit. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. Only you can decide if you're cut out for life on the lines.
That's some food for thought for sure. And on that note, we'll be wrapping up this deep dive into the world of overhead line workers. Big thanks to rollcatcher.com for the awesome insights. Until next time.